first, if you're rethinking how much to tip this holiday season, or maybe if you'll tip it all, you are not alone. A new survey from Bankrate shows fewer Americans are planning to tip this year compared to last year. And that's across multiple categories, including teachers and child care providers. Joining us now to break this all down, Ted Rossman with Bankrate, Senior Industry Analyst, for additional insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I am so glad you're here because I've got questions about my maintenance staff and the dog walker. So we'll get into all of this. But first, New York City, it is run by service industry folks. So this is a very important topic. What are the main job categories, though, that people plan to tip the most? There are just so many people to look after.
That's right. Of the categories that we asked about, it's more common to tip people like housekeepers, childcare providers. Some of what's going on here is that when we have a relationship with someone, we tend to know them better, we tend to tip better. It's not really the nameless, faceless counter service transaction or something that happens in the middle of the night when you're not aware of the trash being collected or the mail's delivered when you're at work. No, the people that we tend to tip the best are people that we know, people that are in our homes, cleaning, looking after children. Those are the kind of people that get tipped better.
Okay, so those are the folks. What about the size of the tip? What is that main driver? Maybe last year you gave a lot. This year is maybe a little bit tight. What determines a bigger tip, any tip at all?
Well, some of what's going on here also is that K-shaped economy, the idea that the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. There's a lot of inequality in the economy. We do see fewer people tipping this year. That's because of the cumulative effects of inflation. People have less money to go around. They're just squeezed by higher prices across the board. And yet the median tip amounts when people do tip are actually flat or even up a little bit. That shows us that upper income people are tipping better even as others are cutting back.
Okay, so hopefully there'll be some kind of a balance there. I just had a friend yesterday telling me, I really want to tip, but I just don't have it in me this year. It's a little tight. So are there other things they can do? Can they tip a little less? Can they make something? What are the suggestions you have?
Even though cash is king, there are some other ways to show appreciation. You can leave a basket of drinks and snacks out for delivery drivers. You can make something if you're crafty or a good baker. Maybe you can tip something, but not quite as much as you would like. Oftentimes, these holiday tips are something like 20 to 50 bucks, although an especially nice tip, if you can afford it, is to tip equivalent to one service. So like whatever you pay the weekly housekeeper or the dog walker, maybe you double that last payment of the year. That's on the high end. But like we said, there is a whole spectrum of what you can give.
Okay, yeah, that's always the tricky question, the amount, but equivalent to a service.
That's especially on the high end. And also, there are some New York specific angles on this, like remembering to tip the super and the doorman. That's very customary in New York City, not as much of a thing elsewhere. You get better service when you do that. It's a nice way to show appreciation. That speaks to a few different motivations to tip.
Okay, well, Ted Rossman from Bankrate, thank you so much. We do want to show our appreciation this season.